Hello, school transportation nation. Tony Corpin here. We're so glad you made it to the podcast. It's brought to you by TransFinder, the leader in school bus routing, by IC Bus, the next generation can change everything, and by Propane, the energy for everyone. And I know many school transportation operators that we talked to out at STN Expo over the summer, they were pretty excited about the investment in electric. There is definitely a lot more movement as we see more buses hit the road, more electric vehicles started to kind of proliferate throughout the industry, and people are learning, right? I think we went from those early stages of how do I even consider adding 1, 2, 3 buses into my fleet? Now we're talking about scaling, right? If we're talking up to 50 buses in a single grant, that is the biggest one I think we've seen. 25 has been kind of the limit. And obviously there's also scrappage. That's been a big issue, right? Do I have older buses that I can scrap? And how long before, people start not having that scrappage to meet the test to get these funds. So, and we've also seen the table change a lot, right? There's been quite a reduction in the actual funding, where before it was much higher. And I think the argument obviously went with, we're not looking for a free bus, quote unquote. We're trying to help you fund the gap between diesel and electric, and you're supposed to be using your own funding as well. The government just isn't giving free buses out like Halloween candy, right? It's just one of those things that I think they've had to recalibrate the program a bit. And obviously they're going to be able to stretch their dollars farther if they make the districts come up with a percentage of the money versus just giving it all away. But people might also decide, look, we just don't have the funding to even come up with that difference, so we're not going to do it. And we definitely hear that when people apply or don't apply for the money. I know when we survey our audience constantly, it's like, hey, are you going to apply for this clean school bus program? It's like 40% say yes, 20% say no, and the other percentage says maybe. Okay, well, what does maybe mean? Like, are they thinking about it? Is that like what's holding them back from making that decision to move forward? And again, as electric gets out there, we see the stories. People may think, oh, it really doesn't work because we have a longer range. We need a bigger distance. And obviously battery technology is evolving quickly in terms of range. When this all started, now think about it 3 or 4 years later, EV range is increased, and it's going to continue to increase. I know we had talked to Jason Yang over at Ride, and he said, yeah, we see double-digit increases in battery capacity year over year. And we've seen that in the transit industry. And that proves similar in school transportation as well. And I think as the battery technology evolves from companies like Ride, BYD, who is one of the largest battery manufacturers in the world, we're getting really good information from them on these sorts of things. So it's an interesting situation as we see districts invest in electric vehicles. And there's been pushback too. People say, I don't want electric, I want diesel, or I want propane, right? They're having to make choices out there. The funding definitely makes it more enticing, and the federal government clearly is favoring electric school buses as the favorite child in the funding mechanism here.